When I was in high school, my friend Lauren was diagnosed with cancer. I still remember sitting on the choir room floor as our director literally struggled to pronounce the name of the illness she had just gotten, rhabdomyosarcoma. Lauren was pulled from school that very day to get her first round of treatment, and I didn't see her again for 6 months. One of the questions that was ringing in my mind throughout those 6 months is, what can I do to be a helpful friend right now for someone who's clearly going through such darkness? But I was only 16 and I wasn't quite old enough to find that answer. At that point, everything I knew about childhood cancer was what I had seen on commercials on television. You walk into a dark room, everyone is crying, and the child is ready to die. But when Lauren came back into the room after 6 months, she shocked us all. She didn't walk in with a tear in her eye, she walked in with a smile on her face. And I learned so much in that moment. One, I learned that Lauren is an amazing person and the power of her smile will last forever. And two, that kids with cancer don't want to be seen as kids with cancer. They just want to be seen as kids. A couple years later, I'd gotten into college. I was studying applied mathematics at Brown University, and Lauren passed away shortly thereafter. I knew at that point that whatever I did next, whatever I did in my future, I needed to do something that would help kids with cancer in her memory. And as much as I loved my organic chemistry and multivariable calculus, everyone's favorite classes in college, am I right? Can I see the hands? Oh, there we go. Can we be friends later? There was still something that was missing. And so I started volunteering at the local children's hospital on the oncology unit. And the first thing I would do when I would walk into a room is I would bring the smile that Lauren brought to us. And I would ask the kids one question: what do you want to be when you grow up? I was amazed to see their eyes just light up as they shared their dreams with me. I want to be a ballerina. I want to be a bookstore owner. I want to be a WWE wrestler. Because you could tell that in that moment, they totally forgot about having cancer, and they were just kids again. How many times were you as a kid asked that question about what do you want to be when you grow up? I know I was certainly asked that what feels like a bazillion times, and I never thought twice about all that question meant. It wasn't, what do you want to be if you grow up? It was, what do you want to be when you grow up? The summer after my freshman year in college, I started an organization called Connecting Champions. We ask kids with cancer, what do you want to be when you grow up? And whatever that is, we'll find a local mentor who can be there every step of the way during the cancer journey. We've paired hundreds of kids and young adults across the country, ages 3 to 26, with mentors from over 50 different professions. Everything from Paralympians to constitutional lawyers, roboticists, video game designers, zoologists, moth experts, and yes, even ghost hunters. We just celebrated our 10th birthday as an organization, and I have to take a breath because it's still so hard for me to believe. It's hard for me to believe how many kids and young adults have shared their dreams with me and my team about how they envision what comes next for them. I wanted to share the story of one of those kids, my friend Angelica. We met Angelica when she was 9 years old. She was going through a really rough round of chemo treatment, and she didn't even make eye contact with us. We played with her a little, but she just didn't want to talk. But when we asked her that question, what do you want to be when you grow up, Angelica? Something clicked, and her face shined as she shared her joy and hope for becoming a professional chef when she grew up. So we paired her with a local chef, Chef Jeff, conveniently enough. And the first time that they met, Angelica had all the emotions. She calls it nervous excitement, which I should add is a pretty accurate feeling when I'm giving a TED Talk. And from that very moment, it started a special friendship. Throughout Angelica's cancer journey, they would cook together every step of the way. And it was amazing because Chef Jeff gave her the opportunity to get a glimpse into her future, to wear that chef's hat, wear that chef's apron, and see herself after cancer. It was so amazing because it didn't just allow Angelica to have these cool moments. In her world, she became the star of her own cooking show. It didn't just create those special moments, though. It also transformed the way that she viewed the hospital and viewed her treatment and her cancer journey. Because when she was in the hospital, it wasn't anymore that everyone who walked into a room asked about her illness. Now everyone who walked into a room asked her for the latest recipe. What did you make with Chef Jeff this time? And instead of her being reserved like she was before she met Jeff, she was excited. She couldn't wait to get to the hospital to share everything with everyone, because that question and the mentorship that he provided gave Angelica her childhood back. Angelica's in high school now, and she is doing great. After all these years, she still wants to be a chef when she grows up, just like her mentor, Chef Jeff. And she wanted me to mention that she makes a mean pasta salad. Next, I want to introduce you to one of our young adults, our friend Logan. We met Logan when he was 18 years old. Like Angelica, he was going through a really rough time, and he didn't want to talk with anyone, and I mean anyone. But when we walked in the room and asked Logan, "Hey Logan, what do you want to be when you grow up? What are you passionate about?" there was just this spark. As you could see him talk about his love for professional wrestling, and he closed his eyes, and you could tell that he was envisioning himself wearing his wrestling mask and holding that championship belt. So we paired him with a local professional wrestler, Lou Martin, of the Keystone State Wrestling Alliance. The two of them would meet every other week over video chat as part of our virtual mentorship program, and they instantly clicked. After about the third visit that the two of them had, Logan found out that his diagnosis had become terminal. But he didn't want that to stop him. He still had a story to write, and with the person next to him, the one person who really spoke his language, he wanted to continue writing that story. And so he asked his doctors and got permission to visit Lou in person for the first time, to go to one of his matches and get a behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to become a professional wrestler, including wearing that mask and holding that championship belt. That day and every day that Logan and Lou were together, either virtually or in person, Logan wasn't an 18-year-old with cancer. He was just an 18-year-old who was the person that he always wanted to become. It didn't matter how many days that Logan had left. He wanted to make sure that his story wasn't finished. He wanted to make sure that he could still look forward to all of his tomorrows, that he could make every single today count, that he could still pursue his passion and envision life beyond the disease. Lou gave him that gift. Logan and Angelica are just two of the many kids who I've gotten to know over the last 10 years. I started this organization as a 19-year-old, as just a teenager, in memory of my friend. And it began with one question: what do you want to be when you grow up? If you had asked me that question when I was 19, "Hey Sidney, what do you want to be when you grow up?" I would have said two things. One, I want to be taller. And two, I would have shared my vision about helping kids with cancer across the country to better survive the cancer journey. And I can stand here right now, literally bouncing up and down, and tell you that it is happening. We have served hundreds of kids and young adults ages 3 to 26, cities literally coast to coast, all of the time zones, by connecting them with mentors who share their passions. We have historic partnerships with dozens of hospitals across the country, and we have become a standard of care within the field of pediatric oncology. Our evidence-based, outcomes-driven approach has led us to be invited to present our groundbreaking outcomes on the local, regional, and even national stage. In the words of one of our teen alums, it can be so easy as a kid with cancer to just be seen as a bald head in an IV pole. But it only takes one question to change that, doesn't it? When we talk about kids' futures with the word when and not if, and help them pursue their passions, we have the ability to change their life forever. I'm continually blown away as kids share their dreams as to what they want to be. They show us who they want to be, and it's our responsibility to help them get there. 98% of kids and young adults in our program have reported that they feel healthier because of their participation in Connecting Champions. That one question, what do you want to be when you grow up? The ability for them to take that and make it their own is literally helping kids and young adults better survive the cancer journey. There is so much room for hope in this world. And all of us, if we work together, can give kids in the hospital that hope too. When we think of these kids, when we're with them, when we talk about them, let's treat them as kids and not sick kids. It doesn't matter if their future holds 60 days or 60 years. They still have a future. They have a story to write, and they need our help to show them that it is still possible and that we believe in them. So when we're with these kids and young adults, let's not think, what do you want to be if you grow up? Let's ask, what do you want to be when you grow up?